Parent Entrepreneur Power, conversation number 182.
Parent Entrepreneur Power.
Wait, what? Entrepreneur Power!
This is the podcast for parents juggling the tough choices required for success in business while putting family first. Hi, I'm Mary Catherine Johnson, and I share the ups and downs and dirty truths of profits and potty training while chatting with successful parent entrepreneurs from all walks of life. Are you powered up? Hello there, Power Parents. You know who I am. Yes, Mary Catherine Johnson here, Parent Entrepreneur Power. And yes, we are Power Parents. I am shown that every single day. Each time my kids go through something, I look at that and go, man, I'm going to be able to use that in business. So let's do that some more if we can. I get to welcome to the conversation today, Justin Deese. He is CEO of the Blue Collar Success Group. And my dad, all growing up, was a machinist and a mechanic, and has been all his life. So I know this world, at least from that perspective, very well. So I can't wait to chat. Justin, welcome to the conversation. How you doing?
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on and sharing your expertise, your story, all that good stuff. So let's start where we start with everyone, and that's kind of a once upon a time here. Give us, how did you get into this whole thing? How did you start as a parent and an entrepreneur at the same time?
Well, I started a little bit in the entrepreneur space before before my son was first born. So not too much longer, maybe 6 months before he was born. We started an appliance business, and I don't know if it was out of necessity or frustration or whatever it was, but my wife, I wanted her to be at home with the kids, and the income that I had coming in just wasn't going to cut what we had going on. So I kind of started a little side business, and it kind of started as a side hustle, and it became a permanent business that we still own today. And which is funny, because then when when our daughter came along, I by this time I had convinced my wife to be back in the business. So it was interesting, because as my daughter was a newborn, she had a crib in our office, and at this point we probably had 10, 12 employees in the office. And my daughter was there every day in her crib, perfectly quiet, didn't make any noise. Now, my son, on the other hand, he could not do that.
Not an option, yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of how we started, is really started the entrepreneur journey right before my son was born. But then our family grew as we were in it.
Yeah, isn't that funny how we all have this wonderful dream of staying home and all that good stuff, but we find ways to keep ourselves busy, don't we?
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't have it any other way for me. I really, I couldn't go back to work, but yet I couldn't just sit and do puzzles all day. So, it's a great alternative, a great way to be able to keep your mind active and yet still be present when you need to be for your kids. So, wow. All right. So it sounds like that's morphed and changed a bit. So take me through that journey. And I got to tell you too, Justin, that quite a few of the people on this show have talked about the fact that they became parents and entrepreneurs kind of at the same time. And it sounds like that's kind of what you were doing as well. A newborn baby and a startup business are really, really similar things to deal with. So might as well get it all done in one fell swoop.
One shot.
Yeah. So take me through that process then. So you said you have an appliance business. What do you mean by that? And take me through what that morphed into with 10, 12 employees and your wife working there, and then, kind of through that progression of what you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. So the appliance business, we installed appliances for different large box retailers in the Atlanta area. And so that kind of morphed into a bigger business, and then it became kind of a different animal, I guess I would say. And what we started, we became very frustrated, as a lot of entrepreneurs do, because, we did it for our family. We do it for the freedom, all those things that we say we do them for. And we kind of looked around and went, we don't have any freedom. We haven't taken a vacation. We haven't gone anywhere. Our bubble is this 3 miles between our house and our office. And, we barely have time to go out to dinner. And eventually we came to ask for help and to get coaching. So we went through that journey for a couple of years, and it really changed not only our business, but it changed our life. It changed really who we were as parents, as people, as adults. It was a very interesting segment to go through coaching and to have someone put a mirror in your face and go, hey, what is this? Who is this guy? What is this going on?
Yeah.
So we kind of started tuning in and started to become, what we wanted freedom for our family. That's really why we created the business. That's what our goals were. We wanted the freedom, not to do anything we wanted anytime, but we wanted to be able to be flexible. And we weren't at that point in our business. And it didn't take us very long once we started coaching and really started educating ourselves on how to run a business, because I got to be honest, we didn't know what we were doing.
Right.
We kind of jumped into it, and we had grown a lot. We had offices in different states. It had become a big business, and there was a lot of the basics that we were just missing. We were just off on. So finally, when we got a good handle on, systematizing our business and getting it to where really we were running it, not it running us. I mean, we build and grow a business in order to, serve our lives and not be slaves to it. And we finally kind of made that our mission to, let's own the business. Let's not let it own us. And when we finally got that business to a very good point where it needed us more as coaches for the business and less day-to-day operators, we actually moved our family to Florida, where I am originally from. And that's where we are now. Once we got here, it kind of morphed into a couple of other businesses. So we ended up opening a plumbing business here in our local area. And then we ended up buying a restoration company. And now we spend most of our time coaching and training for people in the plumbing, HVAC, and electrical space. Mm-hmm. So kind of a lot there in a very short period of time.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. But it all started with a coach.
It did all start. It started with a coach, 100%.
Yeah. So that basically, and what was the impetus? What was the reason you hired a coach?
I was ready to do, well, my wife and I, we were ready to do anything other than what we had going on. And we were just at burnout. We were at frustration mode. And when you're in overwhelm like that and you're running a business, it deflates your family.
Totally. Yeah.
You come home and the last thing you want to do is anything other than, be in a isolation booth by yourself. So that was really, it was our cry for help, I guess you could say. We really just wanted someone to be able to answer some of the questions that we really just didn't know.
Right. And so did you hire a business coach, a marriage counselor, a combination of the two, a motivational coach? I mean, where did you go from there?
Well, actually, it started with my dad gave me the E-Myth and gave me the book and said, you really need to read it, invest the time. And at the time, I was not a big reader. Like I had read books that I had to read at this point in my life and nothing else. And I read it, and it took me 5-6 times of reading it before I started to get a glimpse of clarity, a little bit here and little nuggets there, and I started implementing. And finally we went, if the book makes that much of an impact on us, maybe we should reach out for coaching. And so we actually reached out to E-Myth for coaching.
Wow. And how did that go?
Fantastic.
Did you actually chat with someone there?
We did, yeah. We went through a whole coaching program with them, and then once we were done with the program, I actually went and became a certified E-Myth business coach through E-Myth.
Wow!
Because really, I got so much clarity on it that really I wanted to help people that are in the same place that I was, and we're not there anymore. Our life is different, our family is different, our freedom is completely different, and so it's kind of both of our passions is to really help people get to that freedom point.
Wow. Okay. So I know it's been a while since I read the E-Myth, but I definitely understand the concepts and have applied the concepts that I learned and gone beyond that to other types of ideas as well. But tell me now, that's the coaching to really get your brain wrapped around what it is you want. Like you said, someone holding a mirror up to your face going, okay, who is this person? And is the person you see in here really the person you want to be? And then you looked at that and went, no, not really. That's not really where I want to be. And so then did what you needed to do to took the steps to change that. So you talked a lot about systems. You talked a lot about putting things in place to allow your business to run, not necessarily without you, but with you at a higher level, not down into the day-to-day every day. Tell me a little bit more about some of those systems that you created, and then I want to come back to you being an E-Myth coach and how those two equated as well. But start me with from the coaching that you got and some of the specific things you put in place after that coaching to make a difference in your business and your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the big aha moments for me when we were working with our business coach was sometimes it's the simplest questions that kind of make you think, well, boy, I'm really missing the mark here, which was, what is it that you want? And the truth is we really couldn't answer that. And so once we started to sit down, we started to work on what our vision of not only our business, but our life, what we wanted it to look like. And the more we worked on it and the clearer it got, the easier it became to make the big decisions, to answer. You always have big decisions when you run a business, but the more we got clear on what we wanted from the business, the easier all those things really became. So once we started dialing in on the vision part of it, it was very interesting because basically we went and presented it to our company and said, look, here's who we are, here's what we do, here's why we do it. And basically we want you guys to be on this journey with us. And it's really amazing when you give clarity to your team members how it impacts their lives. Mm-hmm. Because now you've got a boat and everybody's rowing in the same direction. Mm-hmm. In a lot of businesses, they don't have that. There's confusion. It's chaos. People don't understand what they do. They don't understand why they do it. They just kind of do it. Sometimes they do it wrong just because they don't know any better. So that was a huge thing that we implemented in our business to really kind of start the process going in the right direction. Probably one of the biggest things that we implemented was one-on-one coaching with our team. And we sit down with them every 2 weeks. Now we don't sit down with all of them now. The managers do, but we sit down with each of our managers that runs our business and we meet with them every 2 weeks and we kind of do a coaching session. Hey, what do you need from us? What challenges, what obstacles are in your way that we can help clear for you? So probably our biggest system that we put in place was a open line of communication and the ability for someone to tell us what the heck is going on without fear of any type of, repercussions of, oh, I can't tell that guy what's going on. He's my boss. He's going to fire me. So
if I don't know everything about it, if I don't know everything about something, then that's not a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So, wow. I agree 100%. And Power Parents, even though you may not have a team of 10, 12 people, or now obviously Justin has more than that if he has managers managing their own teams, even if you don't have a team of people, even if it's just you still need to know where the heck you're going. You still need to know where that boat is going, even if you're the only one rowing it, right? So where is that? Start with that. What is your number one focus? And everyone knows my number one focus right now is this whole messenger funnels thing. And in that, I'm training other people to do this as well. And one of the number one things people say, okay, so this is a brand new technology. It's open up to everybody. And I get a new student and they're saying, oh my gosh, everybody needs this. I'm just going to create a demo bot or a demo funnel for everybody so that anybody who lands on it, it'll speak to them. Well, we all know that isn't possible. Okay, we have to speak to a specific person. So that's fine if you say everybody's my customer. You still need to narrow it down. You still need to look at a point on the shore. You can't look at the entire shoreline. That's basically exactly the analogy we're using. You can't look at the entire shoreline. You're out at the ocean, and there's the entire eastern seaboard, and you're going, okay, the entire eastern seaboard is my destination. You can't do that. You have to pick a point. Row for that point. You may, as time goes, wind will take you off some other direction. A current will take you somewhere. A whale will bump on your boat and switch you somewhere else. But then you can correct your course and keep rowing for that destination. Or you change your destination as you're going. You're starting to run out of supplies. You better get a closer destination, okay? But you have to pick a point. You can't say the entire seaboard, right? So once you pick that point, even if it's just you rowing, you got a place to go. Then your team is rowing with you, and you definitely communicate where that is. What an amazing thing. Yes. So Justin, how has that changed now? And now moving from, and I'm sorry, did you say South Carolina? Where were you before? Or no, Georgia?
Yeah, we were in Georgia, and we now live in Florida.
Right. So, and this is an appliance, installation. So are you running the Georgia appliance store from Florida? Or do you have other people doing that and you just check in with them remotely? Or now take me to the next phase where you've built this business, obviously, that you have managers that are managing teams.
Yes. So yes, we have a team that runs the business in Georgia. And we coach with them. So we meet with them the higher level managers, the GM and the field manager for all of our businesses, we meet with every 2 weeks. But then we'll sit down with each of them once a month and go over financials and just whatever kind of high level stuff they need assistance with.
Got it. And so that you're still actually running a physical service business.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And now you've gone beyond that to go, okay, this coaching affected my life so drastically and allowed me to have the freedom that I was really seeking to be with my family and have my family so that my daughter doesn't have to be in a crib in the shop or in the store. We can actually go and be with her and manage the store or the shop remotely, right? Isn't that what you're talking about?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Correct.
So now take me through to this counseling affected my life now. Now I want to be an E-Myth counselor, and now we have the Blue Collar Success Group. Take me through that, and how did that form?
Yeah, absolutely. My partner in that business is Kenny Chapman, and he formed the business about 3 years before I got involved. And Kenny was really a mentor of mine. And when I was going to start a coaching business, I actually reached out to him, and I kind of sent my vision and my mission statement to him and said, hey, I know you're busy. If you just take a look at it and tell me what your thoughts are. And actually he called me and said, this is the best vision statement I've ever read. I thought, well, holy cow, here's my mentor calling me. So it all kind of happened pretty quick. So he and I decided we were going to do a couple of webinars together, and we did them. They went really well. And I flew up he lives in Colorado, and I flew up there and met with him and his wife. And then they flew down and met with me and my family. And then after that, we decided, I think this would be a really good fit for us to be partners in this business together. So that's kind of how it started.
Got it. And so take me through how this business has morphed. So he started it a couple of years ago. You've come on, and since you've come on board, it sounds like, so what you're saying is he was an actual mentor of yours through E-Myth, or you hired him through Blue Collar Success Group?
I actually hired him through Blue Collar Success Group. So the group was geared towards plumbing and electrical and HVAC contractors. And it was a mastermind group, and he did some live events. And really one of the things I approached him about was, hey, what if I can do coaching for some of them just as a one-off? If they're looking for, an E-Myth coach, I can help them out. And that's kind of how it morphed. So now, fast forward a year and a half, now we offer one-on-one coaching. We have a few more live events, and we do a little bit more training and a little bit more one-on-one in people's shops to help train and coach them. Got
it. Okay, so you actually go to locations if you need to take a look
Correct.
At the entire process and see where they can systematize and streamline and get as profitable as possible.
Right.
Got it.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. And then in the meantime, so just to understand, this business, Blue Collar Success Group, is specifically geared not necessarily to help people in blue collar industries or specifically HVAC and the like go online. It's actually to help them make their physical service business better.
Correct.
Okay.
And we have a membership too that kind of helps them at their own. So we have some self-paced things that they can go through, and then we have some coaching, because coaching is a lot about accountability too. And as for entrepreneurs, a lot of times that's the challenge, is that we're not always the most accountable to ourselves as maybe we should be.
Yeah. We're only as accountable as we can be, and for me at least, there's a lot of guilt around that. I mean, I sit there and go, why wasn't I more productive yesterday? I shouldn't have gone and done this, or shouldn't have gone and done that. And my coach basically helps take that off my shoulders. And not that my coach is responsible for my productivity, but I know there's someone other than myself that I'm accountable to. And it's, I wouldn't really say to myself that I should do it or shouldn't do it. It really is just human nature. It's just, we will, whatever, when we're left to our own devices, lots of us are very productive, even left to our own devices, but we all have our own personalities and things that we naturally fall into. And usually I can be very productive as long as nothing else is happening emotionally or, physically, or any issues are happening around me, which of course is not normal life, right? I mean, there's always something going on that's pulling me in one direction or another. So those are the times when I need accountability way more than when everything's smooth sailing. So I think I need to go on a boat sometime soon. I'm really
A lot of references to boats
I know
here.
what's going on here. I think I'm going to need to visit my father-in-law. He lives at the coast, so I think that's what's telling me I need to take a vacation, which is definitely the case. So wow, okay. Okay, now a year and a half you've been doing this with Blue Collar Success Group, and you are helping people be more successful in their businesses. Tell me how that's working to bring a digital or an online idea or business into the brick and mortar or physical service space. How have you found bridging those two things?
Well, even in a service business, one of the most important things that you do is the digital side and the technology side of it, right? So the digital marketing, it's how you get the phone to ring. And, now with the conglomerate of Google, everything gears towards that, and it's how you market, and it's how you get people to call you and the phone to ring. So you have to shift a little bit how service businesses are run now, because the Google review, and reviews in general, not even just Google, but there's so many sites out there that you can get reviews. People trust those at a different rate than they did 10 years ago.
Right.
So even though you're a technician and your business is fixing a water heater, really your business is customer service. And in order to get the phone to ring, you've got to be playing a long game, not just a short game. It used to be you put an ad in the yellow pages and the phone rang. As long as you were big and up front, the phone rang. And that's just not the way it works anymore.
Right. Oh my goodness, yes. I mean, all of us, power parents, what he's talking about, because if you have a home or you have anything you need serviced or a new part for, or you want to buy anything, either online or in a store, 90% of you listening out there probably look at a review first.
It's becoming a powerful thing. I read a statistic last week that said people trust those as much as they do a referral from their neighbor.
Yeah, because it's kind of our only gauge to not be scammed to a certain extent, and we've all been able to see those that we see that feel kind of scammy, right? They might just have stars and reviews but no comments. That I'm not going to trust that as much as someone actually saying something about the product or service. But you're so right. It really rules our life right now. and it's kind of the only way that in this big bad world where there's so many choices, there are so many choices and so many options, it's kind of the only way that we can bring it down to a manageable, understandable level, right?
Agreed.
Wow. So it sounds like that's really how you counsel people, or coach people, is to really help them understand how to use all of these tools to grow their own business locally.
Correct. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And especially now you've got, the millennial generation is becoming more than 50% of the workforce here in the next 3 years. So yeah, everything's shifting as far as how people find you
Yeah.
and how services are run and how employees are managed and motivated.
It's so funny. I was having because I'm on Facebook a lot with this whole messenger thing, and I was having a private message conversation with a friend of mine, and she just typed the letters KWIM, all caps, and I'm just like, I replied back with, okay, old lady question, what's KWIM? And she's like, know what I mean? I'm like, oh, okay, get it. I get it. I understand. Yeah, but no. Can you just say, know what I mean? But, because you're right, and she is much younger than I am. But a lot of those things, if I'm texting or communicating with my sons, I'll know because they'll tell me. But it is a new generation. It is a new age. And if we don't keep up, if we don't utilize the current tools, there is no way we can keep up.
100%.
So okay, let's ask this, because I think this will be a really good tool for the listeners. What are, let's say, the top 3 tools that you would recommend that someone use to get the phone to ring?
Okay, top 3 tools to make the phone ring. I would say one of the first things that I would advise somebody to do is to find a digital marketing firm that can help them achieve what their goals are. Google moves and shifts so fast that it's nearly impossible for an individual to spend a little bit of time doing that. So I would find an expert to partner with to solve that problem for you. That would be the first thing. The second thing is Facebook is still pretty powerful. It's interesting because I guess it'd be the younger millennials don't use it as much, but for most service businesses, your ideal customer still uses it, right? Your demographic on your service business is typically going to be over the age of 30, and for us over the age of 30, we still use Facebook. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of good groups out there that you can connect and answer questions. The second thing is I tell companies, add value to your customers. Don't always try to sell. Don't always try to hit a home run. Just give them value and give them care. Mm-hmm. Right? If you treat customers right, they will treat you right. If you don't treat them right, they're going to reciprocate.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So how would you suggest a company out there provide value beyond just selling their service? Give me an example of what that looks like.
Education. Mm-hmm. Just educating a customer. One of the big things is when you're talking about plumbing, electrical, and HVAC systems, that's some of the biggest components in your home. Mm-hmm. And making sure customers know what to do in order to service it to prolong the life.
Yeah, I got to tell you, we just replaced our heat pump, our entire system. Probably 6 years ago now, maybe 5 years ago now. And of course, I haven't heard from the company who installed it since then. So one of the things that they could have easily done is followed up with me a year later and said, hey, here's a quick tip to extend the life of the system we installed for you last year. Do such and such, just something that I can do, whether it's setting something a certain way or, hosing off the outside, make sure there's no...
Making sure your filters are changed. Yeah, little thing. And some customers go, you know what? I don't want to do that. Why don't you guys come out and do this? And by the way, can you come out every year and just take care of it?
That's
'Cause
right.
everybody thinks that customers' concerns are money, and for some customers it is, but for a lot of customers it's time.
Right.
And you invest. I'm going to go ahead and throw out roughly 10 grand on a whole HVAC system. You don't want to replace it in 5 years. You would rather somebody just come out and service it or tell you how to service it. And then if there's a major breakdown, they'll call you.
That's right. That's right. So that's a really simple way. I am not, my husband is not. He'll be out there in the yard planting plants, doing irrigation systems. I mean, he loves that stuff. But that heat pump? No,
Right.
He's not going to be taking it apart and getting a wrench and doing stuff with it. That's just not who he is. So yeah, time, number one, is what he would prefer to pay someone to make sure that it's maintained to the level that it needs to be running optimally. So yeah, so Power Parents, look at your business, look at the service you provide or the product you provide. How can you help educate or give beyond just whatever service someone paid you to do or product a person bought from you? How can you provide value beyond that? And again, it's not just with the expectation of making money, even though we all know we can't stay in business if we don't make money. That makes total sense. But there are little things you can do that don't cost you hardly anything to communicate with your customers and keep you top of mind when they might need whatever it is you have. Great idea. Yes. And Facebook, yes, especially in your industry, women are the number one purchasers of these products. They're the ones probably calling to get something fixed or something installed. And they are over 30 if they own a home typically, and they're on Facebook. So yeah, definitely. And they're the ones writing the reviews and looking at the reviews. So great ideas, definitely. So if there's somebody sitting out there and they're thinking about either becoming a coach or hiring a coach or needing advice about systems or needing advice about making their business run more efficiently, more smoothly, whatever it might be, is there just a piece of advice you can give them from a coach's perspective to hold themselves accountable or to look at their business in a certain way to make it run smoother? Is there any just piece of advice you can give them on how to do that?
Yeah, here's something I would advise somebody to do. Coaching, obviously, one-on-one coaching is quite an investment, right? It's not cheap. It's a large investment to have someone do one-on-one coaching. But again, just like we talked about Facebook, there's a lot of mastermind groups that are out there that are kind of in your space that get you around like-minded people, and it's amazing the information that you can learn when you're around a group of people that are like-minded.
So go to a Facebook group for people that are in your industry or a similar industry. Find one that you might connect with and just start chatting with them. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right. Fantastic. Yes, I would agree 100%. Because and then as you can go into a Facebook group and just get sucked up into chatting and doing all kinds of different things. But the only thing I would add to that and caution you about is take action on the things that you see or hear. Take action. Don't just listen and be an observer. Do things. Because the only way you can grow your business is with action. And I'm not saying action like having to service more customers or action to sell more. I'm talking about actions to set up the systems that Justin's talking about, and actions to set up the communication tools that Justin and I were talking about. That action will allow you more time to get a little above your business and be able to look at it a little more objectively rather than being down in the trees, looking at the tree trunks of the next tree that you need to service. Because without flying a little higher and setting up systems so that you can free yourself up on time, you're not going to be able to grow. And Power Parents, I'll share with you right now, I already mentioned this whole messenger funnels thing that I'm doing. And I'm right in the middle. I'm at that sweet spot right now where I am... I can't take on any more clients myself with the team that I have. I have to go above that and add more to my team so that I can grow and rise above. And I already know that, and I've already put plans in place to do that. So if you can get to a point where you are ahead of that game and you're not bogged down with working in your business, if you can plan to be ahead of that and add people or add systems or add team members, whatever you have to add to be able to fly a little higher and get up out of those weeds or out of the trees, then you're ahead of the game. But if you're in the middle of it right now and you are just like staying up till 10 o'clock at night doing paperwork, and then tomorrow morning you got to go out and service something, or you've got to go out and do some work, and then you find yourself the next day it's 10 o'clock again finishing up your paperwork, and you're in the middle of all that, there needs to be a time when you set aside on your calendar time to say, okay, I need to take a deep breath and I need to plan. And I need to forecast, and I need to figure out how to free up my time so that I can rise above it. How did you do that, Justin? How did you free up your time and get yourself? What's the first step you took to get yourself out of that?
One of the first things I did was I started to get very aware of my time, and then I started to use my calendar. And it's amazing when you put that thing on your calendar, it is a sense of accountability for you. Mm-hmm. So that was the first thing is, I started working. I would take 30 minutes a day and I would work on the strategic side of my business. And the rest of the time I was tactical. And then it inched into where, okay, then I could spend an hour, then 2 hours, and 3 hours, and so on and so forth. So it really started with getting good with my calendar, learning about inbox zero, figuring out how to stay on top of all the things that are coming at you. Because when you run a business, you're constantly getting peppered with whatever. There's always something, no matter what your business is. So time management was huge, and really getting accountable to my calendar.
Amen, amen, amen. I do not do anything that's not on my calendar. I just, my husband knows if there's something he wants me to do, he better put it on my calendar, because if it's not there, it won't get done.
Absolutely.
It's just a fact of life. And I live by that thing. So yes, fantastic. Power parents, please schedule things. And then if you schedule some time, if you find yourself overwhelmed with work, which is a good thing to be, obviously, nobody wants to, negate that and say, oh no, I don't want to have too much work to do. But it can also be a bad thing, because then you can't claw your way out of that and rise above it and actually work on your business rather than in it. That's exactly what we mean by that. When you're overwhelmed with work and the amount of actual work you have to do, you are working in your business. We're trying to help you climb above that and work on your business. And the only way you can do that is if you have people helping you. Otherwise, if you're a solopreneur, you will constantly and only be in your business. And you basically just created a job for yourself, not an entrepreneurial journey. So there you go. Wow. All right. Justin, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I really, really appreciate the advice you've been giving. I definitely want to hear more about eMyth Coach, and we might talk about that offline a little bit and see if we want to invite you back just to talk about that. So
yeah,
Power
absolutely.
Parents, if you are interested in that and what an eMyth Coach might help you do in your business, give me a shout out on either Facebook or Twitter, Parent ePower. And let me know that's something that's interesting to you, and we'll definitely set up a time for Justin to come back and chat about that. And if you have specific questions about what you would need from a coach, go ahead and shoot me messages on Twitter and mention, Parent ePower, mention this episode, and we'll get those questions answered for you when Justin comes back. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Where can people find you so that if they want help in this area, they can get it from you?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably the easiest way to catch me is my website, which is justindeese.com. That'll kind of link you to a couple different ways to connect with me. I'm on Facebook. I'm not really on Twitter. I'm on Twitter, but I don't really get on Twitter all that much. But usually Facebook, and if you go to my website, I'm pretty easy to track down through there.
Fantastic. And again, Power Parents, all this will be on the show notes page. So you can go there and get every way that you can connect with Justin as well. So thanks a lot. Have a fantastic day. And I have a feeling we might be chatting again real soon.
Awesome. Appreciate you having me on.
To get powered up for your day, just go to parententrepreneur.power.com and listen to any one of the over 100 episodes we've had so far with amazing entrepreneurs just like you. It might just help you feel like a grown-up again.